The Black Cat of Souris, a tale of curses and shadows. The year was 1872. Souris, a small fishing town perched on the eastern shore of Prince Edward Island, was no stranger to whispers of curses and strange happenings. The wind that rolled off the Atlantic carried with it more than just the scent of salt and seaweed. It carried the echoes of secrets long buried, and the warnings of those who claimed to have glimpsed the sinister shadow that lurked in the narrow alleys and windswept dunes. They called it le chat noir, the black cat, a creature that seemed to walk between the world of the living and the dead. Some swore it was nothing more than a stray, a nuisance that scuttled underfoot in the shadows, but others, the old fishermen and the women who tended their herb gardens by the light of the moon, knew better. They whispered of its eyes, bright as green fire, that seemed to pierce into one's very soul. And they spoke in hushed tones of the woman who had vanished a decade earlier, a woman many believed had been a witch. Her name had been Eliza Duval, and her story was one the townsfolk rarely spoke of except in guarded murmurs. She was an outsider, and in a town like Souris that was enough to make her a target. But Eliza was more than that. She had a way about her, a knowledge of herbs and poultices, a skill that was both respected and feared. Some said she could mend a wound with nothing but her touch. Others claimed they'd seen her whisper to the crows, their eyes gleaming like the cat's. It was one storm-tossed night, when the winds howled and the sea raged, that Eliza vanished. Her small cottage, perched on the outskirts of town, was found abandoned, the door swinging on its hinges as the rain lashed against its frame. All that remained was a single black cat, curled up in the doorway, its eyes glowing in the dark. The townspeople took it as a sign, a curse left behind by the witch they had turned their backs on. For years after, the cat roamed the town, appearing in the unlikeliest of places: on a windowsill just before a child fell ill, at the docks just before a fishing boat vanished into the fog. It was said that if you crossed its path, you'd be cursed. Some claimed their luck soured after a single encounter, while others spoke of nightmares that plagued them for weeks, visions of Eliza's eyes staring back through the darkness. In 1872, the legend reached its darkest chapter. Samuel Grayson, a young man known for his skepticism, scoffed at the stories. "It's just a cat," he would say, brushing off the warnings. One evening, he encountered the creature himself, perched atop a fence post, its tail swaying like a pendulum. Samuel, with a smirk, tossed a stone at it, expecting it to scatter, but the cat didn't move. Its eyes glowed brighter, and in that moment, Samuel felt a chill run down his spine. The wind picked up, whispering Eliza's name, and he heard the echo of distant laughter, a woman's voice carried by the wind. Samuel felt something claw at his chest, as if invisible hands were tightening around his heart. He fled, but the cat followed, darting in and out of the shadows. That night, Samuel's house was filled with the sound of scratching at the windows, and the whispers grew louder. He tried to sleep, but every time his eyes closed, he saw her, Eliza, standing at the foot of his bed, her eyes the same piercing green as the cat's. She whispered of vengeance, of the curse she had left behind. She whispered of the price the town would pay. The next morning Samuel was found in his bed, his eyes wide open, staring into the abyss. His skin was cold, and his mouth twisted into a silent scream. On his chest, carved with a precision no blade could match, was the mark of a cat's paw. After Samuel's death, the people of Souris whispered louder. They kept their doors locked at night, and they avoided the streets where the shadows grew long. The cat still wandered, its green eyes watching, waiting. Some believed that Eliza had returned, her spirit bound to the black cat, seeking revenge on the town that had betrayed her. The legend of the Black Cat of Souris grew, its shadow lengthening with every new victim. And though decades would pass, the people of Souris learned one truth. The cat wasn't just a creature of the night, it was the keeper of a curse, a reminder of the darkness that lingers when secrets are buried, and the price one pays when crossing paths with a witch's wrath. So if you ever find yourself wandering the streets of Souris on a stormy night, Beware of the shadows that move just beyond the corner of your eye. Beware the green eyes that stare from the darkness, for the Black Cat of Souris still walks its cursed path, and some say that those who cross its path may still feel the chill of Eliza's revenge. Gritty legends, history with a twist, because some shadows never fade and some stories never die.